Let's run down the lineup for tonight's 261 Tigers versus Poole National League match, one of the most important this season. And in the frame you see Steve Lawson, followed by Shane Bowes and Kenny McKenna. Moving now to Phil Jeffrey at number 4, number 5 Charlie McKenna, number 6 its younger brother Martin McKenna, and completing the Tigers lineup, Jeff Powell. Team manager for Glasgow tonight, as ever, Jim McMillan. Moving over to the Poole Pirates side, at number 1 it's Alan Rossiter. At number 2 for Poole, Gary Allen. At number 3 it's Lee Adams. Number 4 for the Poole Pirates tonight, tracking they have Craig Boyce. At number 5, Ali Stevens. Number 6, Kevin Smart, and completing the Poole lineup is Tony Langan. And a more experienced team manager for the Poole Pirates you won't find, and that's Neil Street. Well, the Poole Pirates come to Glasgow on the first leg of their northern tour with matches against Berwick tomorrow and Edinburgh on Sunday, but at Sheffield tonight you won't find many people giving you odds on a Glasgow victory, following a lacklustre display last week against Edinburgh and an out-of-sorts defeat by Ipswich 2 weeks ago. So how are the 261 Tigers going to fare against the Poole Pirates this evening? It's going to be a real nail-biter right to the end. If the 261 Tigers are in the right mood, well, who knows? They may bring the 2 National League points to Glasgow. It's going to be one to sit back and enjoy tonight. National League racing, the 261 Tigers and the Poole Echo Pirates. So off we go in Heat 1 of tonight's match, and as usual in Heat 1 it's Steve Lawson in the red helmet off Gate 2, his partner in blue Shane Bowes. For the Poole Echo Pirates, Alan Rossiter, and he's backed up by Gary Allen. The home skipper looking to improve the performance he had last Sunday at Edinburgh, when very disappointing 6 points from the skipper. He blamed it all on carburetor bike problems, but the surprise for the home fans was that he didn't switch to number 2 bike. So let's see how he does tonight. It's all going to depend on a full score from Steve Lawson and Kenny McKenna, and a lot of backup from the second string Shane Bowes and Phil Jeffrey. But it's Alan Rossiter who's setting the pace in heat number 1, snapped up from Swindon during the winter by the Poole Echo Pirates, joining another of the long line of riders who have switched to National League and thoroughly enjoying the switch. And thoroughly enjoying heat number 1, Alan Rossiter leads the home skipper, Steve Lawson, at the present moment, while Shane Bowes sits at the back, getting the flying shield covering his visor, but he's doing the wise thing. He's allowing his home skipper to challenge Alan Rossiter and just sit back and pick up any mistakes. So still Alan Rossiter leading, Steve Lawson with Shane Bowes in 3rd place and Gary Allen tailing off in 4th place. They're all over the line, and it's 3 points for the 261 Tigers and 3 points for the Poole Echo Pirates.
Neil McFarlane, first time I've spoken to you all season. Are you pleased with your team's performance so far?
I'm reasonably pleased, Chris, I must admit. We had some hiccups early on in the season where a lot of adverse publicity went against us, but in general terms I'm quite pleased. It was always going to be a difficult season, but no, we're reasonably happy. 1 defeat at home, can't complain.
Poole Echo Pirates, they're top tip for the top. How do you think we'll cope with them?
With a bit of difficulty. I mean, we're now talking after Heat 1. Stevie didn't make the gate again. We're just not getting out of the box at home. I don't know why. If we don't get out of the box against these teams, we're going to struggle.
So it's not only the punters around Sheffield who are worried about tonight's match, but also promoter Neil McFarlane. And just to tidy up Heat 1 again, the winning time for Alan Rossiter was 68 seconds. We are on to Heat number 2 now with Martin McKenna, Jeff Powell, Kevin Smart and Tony Langdon. Heat 2 of National League racing, the 261 Tigers and the Poole Echo Pirates. Heat number 2, where a lot of matches are won and lost. A lot can depend on the reserves, and we're looking for mighty things from Jeff Powell and Martin McKenna, but Martin won't do it rearing at the gate like that, and you can see the 2 Poole Echo Pirates seize the opportunity, streak into the front, and in fact Martin bulks his own partner Jeff Powell and leaves him a bad last. Tony Langdon glances across and has plenty of time to do so to see that it's his partner Kevin Smart sitting there, and no doubt these two will be tying together for some team tactics to block the challenge of Martin McKenna at the back. But Martin McKenna, as we know, never says die until that checker flag drops, and you can see that he's creeping closer and closer and closer to Kevin Smart. Let's watch with interest just to see what happens here. Can Kevin Smart keep out the battling Martin? And there you are, the wheel tucked up on the inside. And will he take him on this corner? He's pushing him hard, and pushes him just too hard, because down come both Martin and Kevin Smart. Right, let's have another quick look at that one again, because that was an interesting incident on the third and fourth bends there. Kevin Smart still down. You watch as Martin comes up challenging hard on the inside there, and appears to pass, but Kevin seems to move in and tries to take the centre line, but comes across the front of Martin McKenna, starts to drop, and there you see it. Martin has nowhere to go and punches into the back wheel of Kevin Smart, bundling both himself and Kevin right over the top of the two bikes there. Well, what will the referee Gus MacLeod make of that one? I must say that I'm a bit undecided as to who was maybe to blame there. Had that been the first bend, it might have been first bend bunching, but it's Martin who's out. Referee Gus MacLeod judging that Martin just challenged too hard there, bringing down Kevin Smart, and as he walks dejectedly away, there's still some concern about the Poole Echo Pirates rider. And concern indeed as you see him being carried into the ambulance with an obvious shoulder injury, and unfortunately I don't think we're going to see Kevin tonight again. So we're into a rerun of heat number 2, and of course with Kevin Smart being unable to take his place in the rerun due to that injury, Kevin being the reserve for the Poole Echo Pirates and Martin McKenna being excluded, it's down to Jeff Powell and Tony Langdon to score the points for the respective teams. And Jeff Powell making another of those super starts and holding it down the back straight, and I would say that Tony Langdon is going to have a very, very difficult job to go around the big leggy fellow here. Because we've seen this a couple of times this season, when Jeff hits the front, gets the bit between his teeth, he's away, and a very, very difficult man to pass, even although he's the only man in the track in front of you. And you just watch the efforts of Tony Langdon here as he tries just to do that. He's a good rider when he gets to the front, is Jeff. Maybe a bit stuck at the back at times when he's in the bunch, but when he gets his nose in the front, you can see that he uses the track very, very wisely. And although look at Tony Langdon round the outside here, can he squeeze through? Because it's goodness gracious, what a tremendous race for a match race really between these two riders. Had Jeff Powell just given Tony another 6 inches there, I'm sure he would have been through. But Jeff was pushing all the way down that front straight, and Tony said, no, I've decided not to take it down there. So that's a fine win for Jeff Powell, and second place, Tony Langdon.
Jeff, you certainly pulled the points out the bag when they were needed in Heat 2.
Yeah, my bike packed on the parade. I had to borrow one of Steve Lawson's bikes. And the first race that happened when I went out on it, I got used to it, and in the rerun it just happened, so I need a dream now.
And I see you're taking the bike apart. I hope there's no problem, is there?
Well, my jar was out of action for tonight, so I'm on Steve Lawson's bike, so all thanks to Steve.
Yes, all thanks to Steve for that marvellous Heat 2, which I'm sure it must be one of the best of the season so far.
I'm glad to be in it, but it's pressure on yourself when you're going on like that. And the bike not me being used to it, that was different and all, so I'm just pleased.
Thank you very much then.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, a moment for Jeff Powell to enjoy yet again, and although he says it's all thanks to Steve, it's Jeff who has to ride the bike. Jeff's time was 69.2, and of course as we run into heat number 3, the Tigers are standing 1 point ahead with 6 points to the Poole Echo Pirates 5. Heat 3, Charlie McKenna, the bustling Charlie McKenna, Phil Jeffrey, Ali Stevens and Craig Boyce. Is Phil Jeffrey back to form? That's the question the Glasgow pundits are asking themselves, and Phil Jeffrey answers that immediately with a streak to the front and followed by the bustling Charlie McKenna as he shoulders his way through past Craig Boyce. But Craig Boyce comes straight back at him, and this one's not all over yet. Good to see that Phil Jeffrey looks as if he's shaken off that nasty virus and that very, very bad whack he got with the bike at the starting gate a couple of weeks back, and he's off and running. Craig Boyce is off and running in second place, and Charlie, after making a very good challenge in the first and second heats, or first and second laps, is finding himself some distance behind, and he's going to be in danger of losing that third place if he doesn't watch it with Ali Stevens coming up on the back there. So it's Phil Jeffrey up front, and this will do his confidence the world of good, rolling over that line in first place at the end of 4 laps. However, he's still about 3/4 of a lap to go, but looks to be fairly safe. And the positions, in fact, of Heat 4 look to be fairly settled in this last lap position. So, much to the relief of the crowd and welcoming him back to form, Phil Jeffrey, followed by Craig Boyce in the third place, Charlie McKenna. 4-2 for the Tigers. It's 10 points to the 261 Tigers, 7 to the Poole Echo Pirates, all achieved in a time of 68.2 seconds. Heat 4, the McKenna brothers once again, and this time it's Kenny McKenna and McKenna, and Martin clashes with Tony Langdon there, and that's another involvement with Martin. He's
Can you tell us what happened there?
Well, I reckon the man in the yellow and black took Martin out, and the other fella, Adams, copped it because he was overtaking Martin when Martin was driven out. I'd say Martin was faultless. Definitely yellow and black's to blame. Whether it was revenge for the first incident, I don't know, but I blame him. The referee was correct with what he'd done.
And how do you think we'll come out tonight?
I think we'll win.
Well, I'm glad to see somebody with a lot of confidence.
Well, certainly, why not? We can beat Wimbledon, we can beat this lot.
Thank you. Can you tell us what happened there?
Going into the first turn, what was the bloke's name? Your number 6 rider. He was sort of starting a bit close in my grip position, but I didn't worry about that. Anyway, as we took off, I made a bit of a bad start, but as we were going into the first turn, he really sort of leaned on me hard with his left shoulder, and it just jammed my right shoulder on, and I couldn't get the throttle off, you know. And even if I was going to get the throttle off, I couldn't because he had my arm sort of jammed in there, so I could have easily kept it on and just gone straight into the fence, but I thought I'd better turn, and it knocked him off. But I had a word with the referee, and he said, oh, well, I'm sorry, but, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. It's done now, so basically I just got to put it behind me and keep going, hopefully.
How are you finding conditions tonight?
Yeah, good. I like the track. Shape-wise, surface, it's really good, so hopefully we'll be able to pull off a win. Be nice.
It looks as if it's going to be a very interesting and close match.
Yeah, it'll be close for sure. It'll be a last heat decider, I think. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, thank you very much then.
No worries. Gotcha.
young Tony Langdon exuding confidence in spite of being excluded in heat number 4. The referee judging him to be at fault for bringing Martin McKenna down. A lot of referees would probably have brought them back there for first bend bunching, but Gus McLeod made his decision, and all credit to him, he stuck by it. And sticking by the racing line here is Martin McKenna. He's fired up after those two incidents, and look at this chopping and changing as Lee Adams fires through the centre of the two McKenna brothers. And I think the two McKenna brothers got themselves in a bit of a fankle as they tried to sort things out on that fourth bend and end up making a complete mess of it. It looked as if Kenny was waiting for Martin to come through. Martin didn't come through, and through the gaping hole came Lee Adams. And when Lee Adams gets in front, even of mighty Kenny McKenna, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Tiger to pull this one back. Kenny McKenna, of course, as buoyant as ever throughout the bad couple of weeks that the Tigers have experienced here, but he needs a lot of backup here, and he also needs to produce his best form tonight against the Poole Echo Pirates. So Martin out of it, wisely sitting back and making sure of a single point for the Tigers, but it's all between Kenny and Lee Adams here, still holding the front position in front of the home Tiger and receiving applause as he comes over the line for 3 points. The Tigers also take 3 points, and the score stays 4 points up, or 3 points apart, with 13 to the 261 Tigers and 10 to the Echo Pirates. And Heat 4 win was achieved in a time of 69 seconds. Heat 5, a second appearance for Poole Jeffrey. Can he repeat the dosage of his first race? And he's backed up by the man they call Cha-Cha Charlie, although he's not too keen on that name at all. But he has up against him the mighty Alan Roster and Gary Allen. How will the Tigers fare in heat number 5? And they look to be faring very, very well. Not noted as the best of starters, the 261 Tigers, but the pairing here of Charlie and Phil certainly put that beyond him, and they made a super start in Heat 5 and roared to the front with Charlie in the lead and Phil Jeffrey on the inside. And trailing at the back is Gary Allen, and Alan Rossiter dropped completely at the start of Heat 5. So that's, I would say, a bit of a surprise for both the home crowd and for the Poole Echo Pirates, because they would have expected Alan Rossiter to take this heat at least. But there you are, Charlie and Phil Jeffrey do the business for the 261 Tigers, and Gary Allen left to do the chasing behind Phil Jeffrey. You can see Charlie constantly checking over his shoulder there just to ensure that his young partner is sitting safely on the inside, and as long as he's sitting on the inside and Charlie's covering the outside, Gary Allen's going to have one heck of a job trying to split this pairing, especially on their home track. And you can see Gary looking for the holes in the inside, and he could have won here if Phil doesn't watch it. He just made that to the line and nearly dropped the point right on the line. So the Tigers take a crucial 5-1 and increase their lead.
5-1, how unexpected.
Don't know, maybe unexpected but desperately needed. Unfortunately that brings us, I think we're more than 7 points clear now. Or 6 points rather, which means they could bring in a tactical, but I don't know if they have or not.
It's certainly fairly close and exciting racing anyway.
So far, I mean, these boys, it looks like they're going to win the league. They're not to be taken lightly. Everyone's going to be a hard race. They have been so far, and I don't think it's going to change for the rest of the meeting.
This will only be their 4th defeat of the season. If we can do it, do you think we've got much of a chance?
Of course we've got a chance. Good grief, we're further ahead of Poole now than what we were against Edinburgh last week, but anything can happen. I'm not going to say anything. As I say, every race is hard, and who's to say what's going to happen now? There's a long way to go, 10 races.
Thank you very much then.
Pleasure.
Words of wisdom from Charlie, and yes, Charlie, the answer is they are bringing in a tactical substitute in the shape of Tony Langdon in the yellow and black helmet to partner Lee Adams, and the home cause won't be helped by that flip by Shane Bowes there, completely making a mess of the start, and that puts the Tigers at a disadvantage right away, just when they had picked up that 7 points of a lead and really needed to hammer home the advantage. But they've lost that now because the skipper is struggling behind the rider in white, Lee Adams, and in fact if he doesn't watch his tail end here, he could be struggling behind Tony Langdon, the tactical substitute brought in by team manager Neil Street. So an unfortunate flip there for Shane Bowes. That would have been an interesting race if Shane had been mixing it with the home skipper, but that's not to be, and Steve Lawson finds himself in second place and not challenging at the present moment on Lee Adams. And again, Tony Langdon sitting at the back and actually looking around, so he's considered he's settling himself for the 3rd point. Steve making a bit of heavy weather over the turns this evening, and it may be that the alterations he's made to his bike just haven't suited the track this evening, and certainly suiting the track is the man in the white helmet. Lee Adams scores 3 points, Steve Lawson 2, and Tony Langdon 1.
How do you think Shane will fare tonight?
All right.
That's it, all right.
Yeah. He's going to score double points, I can see. £70 a point, he better get a lot.
And during all the incidents here at Sheffield tonight, we better keep you up to the score. After the last heat there, it was 20-15. The Tigers dropping 2 points, just 5 points of a leeway now, and the time in Heat 6 was 69 seconds. But we're into Heat 7, and in Heat 7 it's the McKenna brothers in the shape of Kenny and Martin against Ali Stevens and Craig Boyce. Kenny off the inside gate and Martin off gate 3, and they made a good start at the front, although as I say that, Martin makes a mess of his corner and Kenny gets cut out by Craig Boyce coming firing up the inside. I don't think Kenny was expecting that one, and he gets the head down and starts to chase. So that's 2 races where the Scotland's number 1 has found it mighty, mighty tough, and as I said earlier, these are the 2 guys, Steve Lawson and Kenny McKenna, we're depending on to pile in the big points, and some backup from the younger fellas with points to push them over the top for a win. But Kenny's not lying down. He's giving this all he can, and he's firing the bike into the corners, but so is Craig Boyce. All credit to the Poole Echo Pirates here. Craig Boyce has got to the front. He's picked up the line fine here at Shawfield, and he's hugging that inside line and holding the outsides going down the straights where the passing takes place. Opportunities there, but Kenny wasn't in best of positions to slip through the hole that Craig Boyce had left, and I'm sure he won't make too many mistakes like that. As you can see, he's holding it tight against the inside line, and that's the line that Kenny likes to pass, but he's not going to do it in heat number 7. He's second behind Craig Boyce, and in third place Martin McKenna. Points divided 3-all, still 5 points separating the teams at 23 for Glasgow, 18 for Poole. That was achieved in a time of 69.2. Heat 8, a lot of matches hinge on Heat 8, and we have here Shane Bowes and Jeff Powell up against Gary Allen and Tony Langdon. And Jeff making an absolute miserable mess of bend number 1, and Shane's still having problems holding the front wheel of that bike on the track, and he's got to do that because he's the man that the Tigers are depending on here to score some points, and he's having a fight all the way here with the man in the white helmet, Gary Allen. And you can see chopping and changing for second and third place here, while Tony Langdon says thanks very much. He gets on with the business up front. And let's watch this fascinating duo here for second and third as Shane Bowes comes back through again. Gary Allen finds a bit of trouble on the corner and hits the dirt, and Shane slips through into second place and sets after Tony Langdon. Firing the bike into the corner, but Shane, you won't do it that way. There's no gaps there. That's better. Up the inside now, and he tries to push Tony Langdon out, but Tony's not going to do that. He's an experienced rider for his young years, and he's holding that line, and he's not going to be intimidated by Shane Bowes' antics here. Well, this is a tremendous Heat 8, and one of the best we've seen in a long time here at Shawfield, and all credit to the 3 riders coming home there for 2 points for the 261 Tigers and 4 for the Poole Echo Pirates. They reduce the leeway even further to 3 points, 25-22. And surprise, surprise, Tony Langdon in for heat number 9. Well, it's no surprise to anyone who saw that efforts there in heat number 8. So it's Tony Langdon and Lee Adams for the Poole Echo Pirates up against Charlie McKenna and Phil Jeffrey. Charlie McKenna making a good start, but Phil Jeffrey not picking up the drive just so well this time and finds himself stone last. And it's up to him now to start nibbling away at the 2 riders in front of him and try and open up that gap again for the 261 Tigers. Charlie McKenna looking fairly safe. The riders hitting a bump or 2 on that first bend. The Poole Echo Pirates holding second and third places, with Phil Jeffrey just sitting there and hopefully waiting for a gap to open up. But I'm afraid you're going to have to work at it, Phil. It's not going to be that easy. Not against a team of the calibre of Poole Echo Pirates. So Tony Langdon glances round and he sees that Phil Jeffrey is causing no problems to him at the present moment. The riders spreading a little bit in heat 9. We've had some tremendous tussles so far this evening, and this is only the second race, I would say, where it's been reasonably settled, although just as I say that, Lee Adams turns on the power and he's after Charlie McKenna in a last minute do or die effort here. Can he make it round the outside? It's going to go all the way to the line, and Charlie shuts him out against the fence. A win for Charlie McKenna, second place Lee Adams, and third Tony Langdon. 3 points apiece, and it's still 3 points separating the teams at 28 for Glasgow, 25 for Poole. Heat 10, with everything tightening up here at Shawfield. There's still a lot to race for, with Steve Lawson and Shane Bowes for the 261 Tigers, Ali Stevens and Craig Boyce for the Poole Echo Pirates. Ali Stevens having a push at the tapes there. It's frowned upon nowadays, and it's all right once you do it when you come up, but don't do it when the starter's orders comes on. But that push has done him the world of good, because Craig Boyce shoots to the front and Ali Stevens almost made it into second place, but immediately come under strong pressure from Steve Lawson from the back on the straight there. So Steve Lawson drops Ali Stevens and sets off in chase of Craig Boyce, but Ali Stevens coming back up in the inside here. These Poole Echo Pirates can certainly ride Shawfield. They picked up the line almost immediately from the first time they set the bikes on the track, and they've hugged that inside line and denied the 261 Tigers any passing on that favourite spot of theirs. So the riders spreading out, and it's a race at the back we're watching now, with Shane Bowes coming up to tackle Ali Stevens. Can he nip in for this solitary point and do a last minute do or die effort, because it doesn't look as if Steve Lawson's going to do anything. And just as that happens, Ali Stevens drops out of the race, looks down at his bike in disgust and rolls into the centre green, while up at the front the 3 points are going Craig Boyce's way, with Steve Lawson, Shane Bowes in second place taking another 3 points, and would you believe it, still 3 points separating the teams. 31 to 261 Tigers, 28 to the Poole Echo Pirates. Heat 11, will Heat 11 bring any respite from this tense drama here at Sheffield? 3 points still separating the teams. Could certainly go either way. There's an awful lot of racing to be done here, and in this heat it's Kenny McKenna and Jeff Powell who have to face Alan Roster and Gary Allen. So once he hits the front, there's not many mistakes from Kenny McKenna, and he made it sure that he was coming out the box that time. So he hits the front with the 2 Poole Echo Pirates behind, Alan Roster and Gary Allen, and in the poor last place at the present moment, Jeff Powell, but looking down at the bike, and if that's his skipper Steve Lawson's bike, he won't be too pleased if he's blown that one. So it's Jeff Powell out of heat number 11, and it's left to Kenny McKenna to hold the 3 points for the 261 Tigers to keep this match boiling over right into the last quarter. So plenty of space now, and comfort for the Scotland's number 1, Kenny McKenna, as he opens up a gap of some 5 or 6 lengths, glances over his shoulder just to ensure that he's safe, and coasting over the line into the last lap of heat 11. Behind it's still Alan Roster and Gary Allen, of course, and they're assured of 3 points as Jeff Powell has dropped out. And if it finishes at this place, as it was assuredly will, it's still a 3 point deficit, and with the 261 Tigers 34 points and Poole Echo Pirates 31 points. 68.4 was Kenny McKenna's time for that heat. Heat 12 brings out Steve Lawson and Phil Jeffrey yet again, and they're up against Lee Adams, and would you believe it, yet another ride for that exciting youngster, Tony Langdon. Eyes down as they watch the tapes, and who's going to make the break this time? It appears as if the skipper's on the inside, but there's a bump between Phil Jeffrey and Tony Langdon, and Phil Jeffrey ends up all over the track, snaking back and forward, but the skipper takes advantage of the confusion there on the first and second bends, and he comes through to the front. So yet again, Phil Jeffrey's going to have to do it from the back here if he's to pick up any heat advantage for the 261 Tigers, and he's certainly doing that as he squeezes over Lee Adams and pushes him out to the fence, takes the inside line and sets off after Tony Langdon. And the crowd are loving this one. Lee Adams comes firing back, but I think that Phil Jeffrey has a drop on him, and indeed he has a drop on Tony Langdon. Tony Langdon looked over his shoulder there, and I think he was looking for his partner, and got the fright of his life when he saw the blue helmeted Phil Jeffrey roaring up his inside. So yet another tremendous heat 12. Some excellent racing here at Sheffield tonight, the best of the season, and that was to be anticipated with the Poole Echo Pirates coming here looking for 2 National League points. Very important weekend for the Poole, of course, with matches at Berwick and Edinburgh, and you could virtually say the league could be won and lost here at Sheffield tonight. So a tremendous 5-1 for the 261 Tigers. They stretch the gap to 39 points to the Poole Echo Pirates 32 in a time of 68.8. Well, against many other teams, I'm sure the Tigers could begin to relax just a little just now, but Heat 13, they certainly can't relax against the mighty Poole Echo Pirates. And Heat 13 brings out Charlie and Kenny McKenna, the famous 5-1 pairing of recent matches, and they're up against Tony Langdon and Craig Boyce. As you can see, Kenny McKenna makes the break with Tony Langdon in second place, and Charlie McKenna having a fair old ding-dong at the back there with Craig Boyce, and he's not winning out of it at all because he made a mess of that corner, and Craig Boyce comes firing back up through the inside. So Charlie has it all to do again, and he sets about the task with gusto, but might find it a bit more difficult this time as Tony Langdon and Craig Boyce link up here and try to block the effervescent Charlie at the back. Certainly can't fault Charlie in recent weeks for effort. The 100% effort every week has had the crowd on its toes, and it certainly has it just now as they scream Charlie's name as he comes down the back straight and tries to take Craig Boyce in the outside, but finds that the two Poole Echo Pirates are still locked in front of them. They've realised that they can't do anything about Kenny McKenna, so they're going to hold out Charlie as best they can and try and keep the 3 points, but there you are, he was watching and he nipped up the inside and he took that right on the very tip of the line, and you can see he's absolutely delighted with that. 4 points for the 261 Tigers and 2 to the Poole Echo Pirates, gives them a total of 43 points, to the Echo Pirates 34 points, and achieved in a time of 68.2. Well, that certainly brings the smiles to Sheffield, because that means that the Glasgow club hold a 9-point advantage over the 261, over the Poole Echo Pirates, and here comes Charlie to enjoy the cheers of the crowd, and well deserved too.
Everything going to plan tonight?
No, not going to plan at all, I'm afraid. We're unfortunately in that second heat when Kevin got hurt, when he got knocked off, it's not thrown everything askew, and we've overloaded the other reserve, Tony Langdon, quite heavily, and now he is sort of fairly exhausted. He's had quite a lot of rides in a very short time. But it's unbalanced the whole setup of the team, unfortunately. And as well as that, we're carrying Ali Stevens. He just seems to be right off. We can't do a thing tonight for some reason.
So what's your contingency plans?
Oh, well, we're in a bit of a tight spot at the moment. We're just going to let this race go on. As soon as this one's over, we're 7 points behind. We're into tactical. We'll make a change in the next heat. We'll probably make a double tactical change in the next heat.
Well, we'll be looking forward to see that, to produce some more exciting racing tonight.
Well, yes, I hope so. Yeah, it has been quite an exciting meeting, and I hope we can sort of pull it off in the last couple of heats.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Neil Street telling us that there's 2 tactical substitutes coming up. The only thing was he didn't name them, but he has now, and that's Lee Adams in white and Alan Ruster in yellow and black, coming in for Gary Allen and Kevin Smart, and they're up against Shane Bowes and Martin McKenna, and very clever tactics from the Neil Street, the team manager of Poole. Shane yet again making a mess of the start. Don't really know what's wrong with him tonight, but he hasn't come out of that box cleanly at all, and as you saw in his very first race, flipped the bike completely over. So a very good tactical substitute here from the Poole team, and making full advantage of it, because at the present moment Martin and Shane Bowes are trying to sort out between them who's actually going to do the chasing. Martin seems to be chasing up the inside, and Shane, he seems to be all over the track, but it looks as if he's got it together now, and he's putting in a serious challenge against the 2 Poole Echo Pirates, who are locked together. Masters of team riding, one on the inside, one on the outside, and it really takes some of the Australian heroics from young Shane to split the pairing. Martin again has wisely dropped back and kept out of things. He knows that he would only get in his partner's way if he was involved there, sitting back and just watching what's happening, and ready to take advantage of any slip-ups in the pairing in front. But it doesn't look as if there's going to be any slip-ups, because they're covering the outside. Shane locking back onto the inside and trying the run up towards the gate, but just loses out at the very last fraction, and by goodness, that certainly ended up a close one. So the tactical substitute works. 5-1 for the Poole Echo Pirates. They pull back their 4 points to 44 to 39 in a winning time of 69.8. As you watch the replay, it just confirms that the Poole Echo Pirates just made it on the line. Maybe they thought they were a little further ahead than they actually were. So that makes it a very, very interesting last 2 heats, because the Tigers could still lose this one after being 9 points up in the earlier heat. So it's heat 15, and it's up to Kenny McKenna and Charlie McKenna to hold the advantage against Lee Adams and Ali Stevens. As you heard Neil Street saying earlier, Ali Stevens sadly out of touch tonight. Maybe a good thing for the home team, because he'd been firing. Maybe they wouldn't be sitting with an advantage just now. But Kenny McKenna, he realises the importance of a heat win here. and his brother Charlie, of course, realises the importance of picking up some points too, but he's got two very prolific riders in front of him, Lee Adams and Ali Stevens at last producing some form and holding out Charlie McKenna. So Kenny McKenna well away there, and Lee Adams good 10 lengths behind now, with his partner Ali Stevens immediately behind him in third place. And although Charlie's firing that bike into the corners, he's making no impression on the two Poole Pirates whatsoever, and I'm afraid he's going to sit there stone last till the end of this race. Only about the second or third time at the very most we've seen the riders spread out like this evening. Every single race has been contested very, very hard. And was that Kenny putting his hand up with relief, or had he a bike failure on the line? It doesn't matter. He took the 3 points and holds the gap at 5 points, with 47 to the 261 Tigers and 42 to the Poole Echo Pirates. It was relief when Kenny punched the air, and you can see that. A while since I've seen the McKenna wheelies, and no doubt we'll see another one here. Up it goes to the roars of the Sheffield crowds. Well, 47 points to 42, and of course with a 5-point gap, the 261 Tigers can't be beat. No wonder Kenny McKenna was delighted with that heat win, and although it's academic, it's unfair to say that to the four competitors in heat 16. That's Steve Lawson, Phil Jeffrey, Alan Roster and Craig Boyce, and this was certainly a match that the Tigers didn't expect to win. Although saying that, speaking to the riders down before the start of the match, they were fired up. They had nothing to lose, so they were certainly going to give it all they could, and by goodness, they've pulled off one of the shock results of the season. So the 261 Tigers in the last heat of a tremendous National League match, with at present skipper Steve Lawson leading the quartet. In second place in white it's Alan Rossiter. He's followed by his partner Craig Boyce, while Phil Jeffrey tries to attack from the back. Pleasing, as I say, for the home fans to see Phil Jeffrey coming back to something like his normal form. Although he's missed out in a couple of races, he picked up some vital points for the 261 Tigers tonight, and certainly contributed to their win over the Poole Echo Pirates. So it's the skipper Steve Lawson with a fairly comfortable lead here in heat 16, glances over his shoulder as he takes the checkered flag. Second place Alan Roster, and third place Craig Boyce. And that ties it all up with a tremendous 50 points for the 261 Tigers, 45 points for the Poole Echo Pirates, and the final time of tonight, 69 seconds. Tremendous match here at Sheffield tonight, and full credit to both the 261 Tigers and of course their opponents, the Poole Echo Pirates. Coming across the line, Alan Roster and Steve Lawson acknowledging the cheers, and the presentations down on the centre green. So the boys sang, you can see Phil Jeffrey in fact physically having a sigh of relief. He's glad that one's over, and here comes the 261 Tigers to acknowledge the cheers of the Sheffield crowd, and they are certainly giving them the Sheffield roar as it's become known here. Their voices are in good song, and a well-deserved round of applause to the 261 Tigers as Kenny McKenna tries to wreck the back end of the tractor. Just looking at Phil Jeffrey, he's giving the royal wave. That's it, Jeff. You show him how to do it. You're supposed to move your hands, Phil. So there we are, once again, the final score of tonight's National League match here at Sheffield. 50 points to the 261 Tigers, 45 points for the Poole Echo Pirates.
Kenny, firstly, can you tell us about last night in the Star of Anglia?
Last night was a very long way away, a very damp evening, and miserable all round. Apart from that, it was great. It was the Star of Anglia. It's one of these annual events down at Ipswich. I've been in it 2 or 3 times before in British League. They invited me to do it this year now that they're National League again, and so I sort of turned up with the bike.
And came second?
Yeah, I think that was a bonus. I went down there obviously hoping to do reasonably well, but the idea was just to have a ride round and enjoy racing. But as it happened on the night, things were going my way possibly, and I ended up in second place, yeah.
Things were certainly going Glasgow's way tonight as well.
Weren't they just? I think possibly all the good fortune was with Glasgow just tonight, which we actually needed. Without luck, we would not have beaten Poole. So Poole are very talented, and they go about their business in a very professional way. So I think the boys can be very pleased and very relieved that the meeting's over with, and I don't think I'd like to meet Poole every week anyway.
And once again, the crowd came out on top.
Just exactly. I mean, it was a fantastic meeting. You can always tell a fantastic meeting because all the riders are absolutely shattered by the end of it. It's real hard work out there. But in the end, as you say, the crowd are the winners, and the sport in general. It was a fantastic meeting, and as I say, we're glad it's over with, and now we'll go to the bar.
Well, thank you very much then.
Thank you. Leave that donkey alone. Go, mule, go! Yeah! Come on.
Pleased with the result?
Delighted. Come on, next question. That's shocking, isn't it? You thought I was going to follow it up, didn't you? Come on, yeah.
I thought you were going to wind me up as usual.
No, not me. Wouldn't do anything like that.
And pleased with the team's performance?
To a man. I'm quick tonight. No, it was a good team effort, yeah. When we were 9 points up there, I thought, well, we can't throw it away now. And then they got a 5-1 in Heat. They got a 5-1 in Heat 14. Then Kenny made sure we got the match. But I don't think anybody's taking their blind bit of notice of this. There's an Australian hanging in there. Right, next question. On a more serious note.
What was the track like? It looked rather wet and sticky.
It was better than it has been. It was nice and damp, you know. When it dries out, you notice tonight there was a lot of passing, and if you get the track damp, you get better racing. I think it was. Leave me out of it. Next question. He's asking me. He's not even filming me now.
Frankie will eat Kenny McKinnon next week. Kenny is dead meat. He's going down on the first.
Things haven't gone your way recently, but it all came together tonight.
Oh, no. Well, last few meetings, last 3-4 meetings, tonight wasn't too bad, but last 3 meetings before that have been pretty bad. I was going pretty good on the Southern Tour and a few meetings before that, and then I thought it would all come together and I was going to get a few points like every week, but just for some reason they just went backwards. I don't know why, but just one of them things, you know, wrong place at the wrong time, but can't help it. Tonight I had a bit better night, still lacking it out the start really badly, but having to do it the hard way from the back. But it was a good meeting tonight, and I think everyone put in at least one good ride, which you need to win a match, and we did it.
We were talking to a couple of your fans earlier on that have set up a fan club. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's good. Good bunch of girls, and it should be good.
Tell us about the Shane Bowes fan club.
Well, it started about 6 weeks ago. You get 3 newsletters a year, a membership card, a signed photograph and a profile on Shane. And junior members also receive birthday and Christmas cards.
What age do you have to be to qualify as a junior member?
Under 16.
And how do you think Shane will fare tonight?
All right.
Peter McNamara was only fined £25 after the rather nasty incident in the pits last week. Would you like to pass any comment?
No, he was just being totally out of order, really, because like the way it happens is like he stuffed me on the first corner and I only come off, but like that's speedway, so I just come back underneath him, went past him. As far as I was concerned, I was past him, and I was like on my own line, and he he was like behind me, and I don't even know where he was, but he reckons I'm trying to put him in the fence, so I can't see how I did that. And he just got really angry about it. I think he just got upset because he only scored 2 points for the whole day, and that sort of says it all. And he just it got him wound up, but he's just totally out of order. But that's the way things go.
And thankful it's all been resolved.
I don't know if it's been resolved. It's still a little black book.
Phil, a better night tonight.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it tonight. It was makes a change. Like, I've had a rough time this last month, you know. I was struggling. Been struggling pretty badly, but you just need, you know, 1 or 2 good races and it brings your confidence back up again. You know, so hopefully that'll be it. I'll be away now.
We've seen a lot of publicity about this new training track at Linlithgow, which is very near your home, and I hear you've been quite involved with us. Would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah, it's only about 5 miles from where I live. So, well, the bloke that owns it, I work for him, so Alan Robertson. So it's quite handy, like, you know, and he lets us out whenever I want. Well, Wednesday night I can get out Saturday and Sunday. So if I've got a problem, you know, I can go up there and try and sort things out.
Do you think it'll help our juniors?
Oh, definitely. That's what's been needed up here, you know. Young lads can get started there pretty early, you know, when they're just at 12, 13 or something like that, and just come through, you know, they should be all right.
And hopefully they'll sign for us.
That's right.
Thank you very much then.
Right, thanks.
How'd you enjoy it tonight?
Yeah, it was good. The track was a little bit slick and everything seemed to go all right, but we just didn't have as much luck on the night, so we were a bit unlucky.
Poole are set to win the league, even at this early stage. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, well, I think for sure we can still win the league. All depends if all the boys get their act together a bit. At the moment, we're starting to fall apart a bit, but I think we'll be right.
First night of your tough northern tour, how do you think you'll fare?
Oh, well, good. The travelling doesn't really worry me, and we lost tonight. We'll be in a bit of a downer for tomorrow, but I'm sure we can pull our socks up and win tomorrow night.
You see our silhouettes, and all you hear are castanets. No one cares how late it gets. Not at Hernando's Hideaway. At the Golden Finger Bowl or any place you go.
I'd love to think we could pull it off, but I've got to be realistic and say, if I was a betting man, I think I'd have a colour bob and Poole.
Well, I don't think anybody's saying they're blind, but they notice this.
If I was a betting man, I think I'd have a colour bob and Poole.
Well, I'm glad to see somebody with a lot of confidence.
Good, I like the track. Shape-wise, surface, it's really good, so hopefully we'll be able to pull off a win. Be nice.
I'm glad to be in Indy, but especially when you're going on like that, and the bike not being not me being used to it, that was different than now, so I'm just pleased.
Of course we've got a chance. Good grief, we're further ahead of Poole now than what we were against Edinburgh last week, but anything can happen. I'm not going to say anything. As I say, every race is hard, and who's to say what's going to happen now? There's a long way to go, 10 races.
Right, next question.
Oh, shit.
That's it, he's been into the donkey again.
Now don't be dirty. Now don't be dirty.
On a more serious note,
Shane thinks I'd stop fixing your hair.
Makes a change. Like I've had a rough time this last month, you know. Struggling. Been struggling pretty badly, but
I think everyone put in at least one good ride, which you need to win a match, and we did it.
I don't think anybody's taking a blind bit of notice of this.
You can keep up to date with all the news about the 261 Tigers by calling the Glasgow Tigers hotline on 0898 654 617. That's 0898 654 617. The hotline features first news of all the Tigers' home and away fixtures, interviews with the riders, plus all the latest information about the Tigers. In the event of a match being cancelled because of the weather, the hotline will have first news of the cancellation. Calls are charged at 25 pence per minute off-peak and 38 pence per minute at all other times.